look, you guys, I'm just gonna come out and say it. That was our best performance by miles, and it's not even a debate in my eyes, at least, because we're just such a completely different team from the games that we had against Leicester, against Man City. We are just such a different team, and a team that actually plays football well. Like, why can't people see how well we play? Like, there's some people on Twitter, especially, that they're just gone out and are starting to say to chill out because of just one game. But in that one game, he showed us so much. He basically revitalized this whole team in just a span of a single day. Like, you have to consider that this guy didn't even have 24 hours to talk to the players, set up a system. Yet he does it. He actually just did it. Like, I'm so proud of the team today. Like, there's not many times this season I could have actually said that, where we haven't lost games and we've been like, oh, well, we tried though. But we genuinely played really good football today. And, as much as people want to say, oh, we're making the same mistakes, or we didn't really do much to deserve 3 points, we didn't offer anything else other than just a few crosses, a few passes. The way we played and the different style of play that we had throughout that entire game, we had more through balls, we had more crosses, we had more of everything. And this was a statistic after the first half where we completed the most amount of passes since we did in the first half, completed passes since the start of the 2003-2004 season. Like, come on, guys, like, that's just so much. And this is all just based off of the first game of the Tuchel era, man. Like, it's honestly just so surprising to me how we can go from a team that barely shows anything on the pitch to suddenly being this whole, like, different array of talent all of a sudden. And suddenly we're just making, like, plays happen out of nothing. Like, we're literally just creating chances on the spot. There were just so many good examples, and I'm just so happy about today. Like, that's the thing to take away from this video. Like, you have to be happy about what's happening right now. We have a reason to be happy right now, and even though it's not looking great for us on the table, man, like, I get it. We want to be higher up the table, but you just have to agree that we were just playing so much better, and, like, that's something that I just can't refute, or I can't really, like, see in any way that we're somehow playing worse than we were before. And people are saying, oh, we should have given Lampard more of a chance after this game. Like, what are you saying? Like, we played so much better. Like, I know I'm saying this over and over again, and I'll get into why I think we played so much better today. But credit where credit's due. You have to give it to the players. You have to give not every single player, but you have to give most of the squad credit for just showing up today. They came back to this team like it was it was just destiny. Like, it was just fated to happen. Like, it just honestly impressed me so much how almost all of our players just came back to life in this game. And honestly, it was just, like, so heartwarming to see, because I feel like we got the most out of all of our signings today, especially with Ziyech, Havertz. They were just tremendous today, but it was honestly just so impressive overall. But I'll just start getting into the game, because I'm ranting too much about how I feel, how proud I am. But I have to really start discussing and proving my point. So we're gonna start off with Mendy, who he did okay. There was some times where, especially one time where he distributed the ball so poorly and he gave it to a Wolves player, and we almost ended up conceding. But as much as that, I think he had a pretty good game. As much as he was at fault, he wasn't really at fault at all, but there was just that one moment in particular could have really cost us if we weren't smart, and it could have easily been a goal. So Mendy played all right in my opinion. Azpilicueta did really well when you consider that he hasn't been getting the minutes that he usually got last season. He was the captain for this game, and he did so well to command the back line. And there were just times that towards the end of the game where I think it was one time where he tried to cross it into Abraham, and that almost worked. Where we actually just crossed it in from. He was basically like near the halfway line, and he just found a way to just swoosh it in and give like a curving cross into Abraham, and that almost worked. But he was also a fighter today. There was also one time where I think it was either Neto. I think it was Neto that pushed him down. And you know what? He did really well, and his character really showed today, and that's something that you appreciate to see. And even though James didn't play over him, I think Azpilicueta still showed a lot that game. Rudiger now. Rudiger, I think I would say he had a decent game, but not the best of games, because many people would agree that he was at fault for giving away like a foul that was near the edge of the box. He was very reckless sometimes, but there was also a time where he got a header on at one end of the corner, and it was just a very standard performance. I really don't have much to say about him. I think Thiago Silva though outperformed Rudiger. There was a lot more that he offered than Rudiger. He was playing quick into the midfield, and between that pivot of Kovacic and Jorginho, it was just so much better from our defense today, because we weren't sloppy at all. We didn't really give the Wolves players a chance to actually break our defense. I think between Thiago Silva and Asby, they were our strongest defenders, and I was very as expected. I was expecting Silva to be the best defender out of the whole group, but yeah, he played well. Going on to Chilwell, yeah, I would say that most fans are very upset with Chilwell at the moment, because there were many times where he just went up the pitch and just lost the ball. And there were even times when the Chelsea fans were just saying on Twitter, is he playing against us? That's a common thing that people say, but it genuinely felt like he was playing against us at some points of the game. But, it was Chilwell, out of this whole team, I think Chilwell was suffering the most, because he was being played as a wingback. He was just in complete control of the wings, and I'm guessing it just felt pretty off for him to be able to go back and then immediately come forward. There were times when he just was on the left wing and he would just lose the ball immediately, and there were times when he had a chance to cross, but the first thing he would do is hit a man who was closest to him, and it was just very disappointing from Chilwell, because you'd expect to do more, especially at the beginning of the season where he was actually getting goals from being very high up the pitch. But it just didn't work out for him today. He's not very good at going from the midfield and then starting a counterattack. I don't think that's his specialty. But earlier on, he looked a lot better than he did at finishing the game. There were times when he was just able to just cross it in, and I think he pinged in a few crosses that went pretty well and could have led to something. But overall, I think most people are going to be disappointed. But yeah, I think we're basically a new team now. We have a new system, and you're not going to expect everyone to adjust to that system immediately. So I think that was the biggest downfall to Chilwell. I wouldn't criticize him that much in this game, but I would agree that he did waste a lot of opportunities. And there was one time in particular where it was a good link-up play between, I think, Ziyech and Havertz. And Havertz puts a little ball into the center of the box, and Chilwell's the only one there, and he has the whole net, but yet he decides to kick it over the bar. And I would say if we took our chance there, then we could have expected a different result from the one that we got, which was a draw, unfortunately. Moving on to Kovacic, and oh my gosh, bro, the baller's back. The baller is actually back. I was just so satisfied with Kovacic today. It was just a different player from the rest of the season, and that's why I'm saying that this whole team has just changed in attitude completely. All of our players feel like new signings, because everyone's just up the ante, and Kovacic was by far one of those players that really proved himself today. He was always winning the ball in the middle. He was always driving forward. He was always trying to find a cross, and there was just many times when you were just thankful that he was on the team, because he was just finding a way to keep on pushing against that Wolves defense, and it was just a very spectacular performance from Kovacic in general. It's the kind of performance that you would have expected to see last season, and although we haven't seen much of it this season, he really proved himself today. And he was one of the players that just really stood out in my eyes, and every time he got the ball, every time he was pushing up, I'm just that's my Kovacic. That's the Kovacic that we remember from last season, and it was just very pleasing to see that. Moving on to Jorginho, though, I would say he was definitely better than what he was under Lampard, I would say, in general, because there were just times when he actually, there was one time, and I think I tweeted this out, where he played a long overhead cross to Giroud, and there was another time when he was able to win possession of the ball, and I thought that was very impressive in the first half. In the first half, he was very impressive, but towards the end of the game, he kind of dipped, which is why I don't think he got subbed out, but I think he should have been subbed out instead of Ziyech. And now we're going into Ziyech, who was very, very good in that entire game. I think he had a spectacular performance. For me, my man of the match, because there were just times when he and Callum Hudson-Odoi would just link up so perfectly, like so perfectly. There would be like times when he would just play a through ball in so casually to Callum Hudson-Odoi, and there was just so many times when he would just find a good cross, and it was just something that you'd expect from Hakim Ziyech. Like, we know he can do this from his days at Ajax, where he would just be able to just ping a ball in and it just be very satisfying to see. Well, we got that today. We got that Ziyech today, and that's something that I really haven't seen that much throughout the season. He's had some good performances. I'll agree on that, but today was by far his best, and this is very satisfying to see. Going on to Havertz, though, Havertz genuinely impressed me today as well. He, just out of all the other players, he performed, he just jumped in quality the most, I think. He was just so quick in his passing. And there was one time in the first half where he got the ball and all he did was just run to the middle. And that's something that we usually don't expect from Chelsea players. That's something that we miss ever since Eden Hazard left, where a player would just take the ball and just run into the middle. Well, he did that. He actually did that. He cut inside the middle, and it was just something that I haven't seen for so long, and I'm pretty sure I tweeted that out, where that was the first time I seen a Chelsea player that actually had the ball and just ran with it. And he did have a shot on target, but if he just got his footing better, he could have expected a goal in. I was just very satisfied with Havertz today. He was spectacular. There was also a time when times when he would just link up so well with the midfield. I think the midfield trio of Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi, and Havertz works really well in this team. And it's so crazy to see all these new things that's apparent in just one game. And we're luckily able to see that our players are improving very quickly. Not because that they're below par or anything, but because of this new game plan that Tuchel's employing, and it's working very well. And I think it could lead to something very promising by the end of the season. Maybe a Champions League trophy? I don't know, man. But very happy with Havertz today. Going into Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi was class. Seriously class. And, it was rumored a few months ago that he would have left for Bayern, but, he was just pure class today. He was just dominating that wing. And he was often working with Ziyech to just beat defenders and getting to the back of them. He was able to just beat them and glide through the wings. It was just honestly just so impressive from Callum Hudson-Odoi. Moving on to Giroud, I would say out of all the players, Giroud was the least apparent, and that's very. You know what? You expect Giroud to show up, especially when this is a time when our crosses were the most effective, when we were actually playing in the midfield well, and there were times when he did link up, but he individually he was poor. He didn't really get enough chances, but. Whatchamacallit, I wouldn't say that's his fault necessarily, because we did lack in the final third. We severely lacked in the final third. That'd be the one negative I would take out in this game. We really didn't put a ball in the box, and other than that Chilwell miss, I would say despite everything else that we did, we played good crosses, we played quick 1-2s. It just wasn't enough for Giroud to actually do anything in that game, and. I wouldn't be too upset at him, but he just wasn't apparent in that game. So if you take that as a negative, then sure, take it as a negative, but I'm not gonna blame him too much. Moving on to Pulisic, he was very vibrant as soon as he came off the bench. He was just very fast to pick up the game, and obviously he's fast, but he immediately picked up that tempo like that. He just picked it up. It was just natural to him. And it was a Pulisic that we haven't seen that much this season. He was just very vibrant coming off the bench. He was able to link up with Mount, even though he was there for the last 5 minutes, last 7 minutes, 8 minutes, he just made an instant impact. There was one time where he just completely fooled a Wolves defender, and he was just through on goal. He just completely fooled them. I think everyone on Twitter and noticed that, and they were just the first ones to be like, yes, this is Mount, this is what he can do. Well, from both Pulisic and Mount, I was very impressed towards the end, and they almost contributed to the final chance that we had, where Havertz had a header on goal, and it was just very close. If it didn't hit that Wolves player, then we probably would have won the game. But you know, you just had to be satisfied with what you saw, the quality of football that you saw today, and I was just very wowed in general. I was just very proud of the team. Then Abraham, didn't really expect much from him. That's not me going against Abraham or anything, but I just didn't really expect him to get the amount of chances that he would need to in order to do something. But you know, he passed, I guess. He just passed towards the wings, and that's what I remember seeing towards the end of the game. But yeah, overall, just a general good performance from the Chelsea team. Not good. What am I saying? Great. Because if you see my tweets, I was just so ecstatic. Like, I was just so genuinely happy that our team was just playing this fast, quick, and intelligent football. It was just something that you wanted to see at the beginning of the season, but it's just something that never happened. And that, I would say, that's the biggest difference when you compare Lampard to Tuchel. Tuchel is this manager who's very experienced, and despite the limited amount of time that he made our team look better than what we did this entire season. That's something that Lampard couldn't do across the span of several months, and that just really shows how much we really liked tactic-wise. Because think about it, this is not even our best lineup, to be fair. This isn't even like the players that we would want. We're missing Werner, we're missing Pulisic, we're missing Mount. Those are 3 important key players from the starting lineup that were not present. But the tactics, the game plan, the mindset, he implemented that into the players so fast. He literally had like one night to work with the players, and he did so much. And I'm just very, very happy and very promised with what Tuchel can bring to the team. I was just very, in general, I was just very happy with the players, very happy with the game plan. It was just very good from a Chelsea side. And now I just want to get a question from you guys. I want to ask you guys a question, actually. What was bad in that game? Like, what was something that was severely bad throughout that game? Because many people are already saying, like, Tuchel out. I mean, like, you're gonna get people saying that regardless, but it seemed like people were vehemently, like, showing their anger or their disapproval of Tuchel immediately, and he's only had one game too. But how could you say that we did not play well? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, well, we stringed a few passes, but we didn't score. But you have to admit, the quality just jumped completely. It was a complete overhaul from what we saw with Frank Lampard's team. It was just so much better, so much better. We actually just created so many chances. And if we just had our shooting, not our shooting boots on, because we didn't really have that many chances to shoot on goal, I will admit that. But if you just see how well we reacted and how well we stringed passes together and how well everyone just synced up, how could you not be happy about that? Like, honestly, how could you not be happy? I'm just so happy. And throughout that game, like, I said to my brother when we were both watching the game, like, my team could lose 5-0 right now, or we can lose right now, and that wouldn't even like put me out of this good mood, because we were a different team. And if you fail to see that, then I'm sorry. And but if you're saying Tuchel out, then you're clearly wrong, because he just introduced a new team to me, and you know, it was just something very promising. And yeah, I'm just in a good mood. So I hope what I'm saying doesn't really offend you. I hope people who are still upset about Lampard leaving aren't gonna attack me for saying Tuchel in. But right now, I'm Tuchel in at the moment. I'm just completely Tuchel in at the moment. But that's going to be it for me. You know, obviously, I shouldn't be too happy because we're still pretty bad in the table. But overall, very, very happy with the performance, to say the least. And that's just going to be it for me, guys. I've been your local Blue, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.